Hello everyone and welcome back. In our last lesson we looked at a general description of level design. This time around let's look at some role specifics of the level designer, and we'll also include some extra points which we didn't cover in our earlier general lesson. So basically before we can jump into understanding what the roles of the level designer are, we need to understand what a level is. Now basically your level is a place where your game happens. For instance, you could say I'm in a ruins level or I'm in a sewer level. That's the location where your gameplay is taking place at that point in time. Now, there are other definitions for level, and it could actually be, it can quite get confusing. And basically, you can use level as a way to measure player progression. So by experience, like in most RPG games, you can be in level 1, 2, you gather experience, and when you reach a certain experience point, you jump over to another level. And basically, you can look at the level as a method of counting a player progression by stages. So for instance, a game like Tetris, you could be in level 1 and go to level 2, level 3, where the speed or the difficulty gradually increases in that game. And once you have themed levels, they're classified as worlds on their own. So you can actually have a world that's made of kind of like jungles, a world that's made of kind of like lava, and then you can have sub-levels based on those world themes. So just not to be confused. So after we understand what a level is, who is a level designer, right? So basically a level designer builds that map level or that specific scene where the player will interact with elements, and these elements include puzzles, platforms, enemies, and it can also include boss fights and other kind of polish. So that's your role as a level designer. Basically, you're trying to build a prototype of a player experience. So that should be something that sticks. And there are some few key points I played out here. So I just here that generates ideas to improve or create player experience. You sketch out a prototype or a level block out using a white box or a black box model. It also includes a lot of research and planning, content creation, and then interaction and feedback from play testers and also from supervisors in case you're not indie. Now this is like a broad classification of overused level types. You could have desert types, you could have outer space level types like in Dead Space, you could have jungle level types, you could have swamps, oases, you can even have a food themed level like in the Rayman series. They have a lot of food themed levels. You can have mountain levels and also some abstract kind of like urban, dreamy, ice or caves levels. Now what you can do is to kind of like take what already exists and then kind of like mash it up and improve it. For instance, I kind of like drew these lines to show you how you can have variation in those levels. You could have a desert kind of like mountainous level, or you could have a desert oasis kind of like level. You could have an urban fire level. You could have a swamp, spooky level, like a swamp with ghosts and all that stuff. So you can pick an idea that exists and you can mash 2 to 3 of those ideas. Now, the more mashups you have, the more complicated it's going to get. And remember, the idea is to simplify and keep it super simple, right? So basically, that's what you can get. And also, just to reiterate, you start with an idea, and it could also include a story. You prototype, you test, and then you clean up. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what the level designer does and the definitions of a level designer, so you can actually be clear and clear cut so you can understand it. Again, it's an interdisciplinary field. In case you're indie, you could actually be the game artist / programmer / level designer. So it means you have to create your own assets and then use those assets and place those elements strategically in your level so you can design your game. So hopefully that gives you an idea, and let's go ahead and move on. In our next lesson we're going to look at other key terms, and then we're going to jump into the interesting part. We'll actually start sketching out ideas to see where we're going to build eventually. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next lesson.